Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our new installation of Lox Bagels on Life, the virtual program that we've created where you bring the lox and bagels, and I will share with you a message for life-enhancing skills. I did get a notice that we are having some issues with our Facebook Live, so if anyone is actually viewing this on Facebook, please send me a message and let us know, or if there's any other issues. The software that I use streams to YouTube and Facebook at the same time, and hopefully the Facebook listeners are there. If you can let me know, I would appreciate it. Actually, I can click here. Looks like we do have some Facebook listeners. All right, my dear friends. So good morning. It is a beautiful day outside, a little chilly, but we do have a lot of exciting programs that are going on as we speak. And I'd like to share them with you because here at Lubavitch, Bucks County, we never rest. We're always here to bring exciting programming to you and your families so Jewish can be done joyfully. So the new program that I'm excited about is actually a family program, maybe a little child-oriented, but if you do this stuff, you can get a prize as well. And I'm going to bring that up on the screen. And that is our great mitzvah hunt. It's a scavenger hunt. It's COVID. We can't have our typical winter day camp for children to come and appreciate it. Nowhere to take the children, no trips. So let me shut that phone. So let me check the messages, make sure there's no important message on Facebook. Now, okay, great. So because we can't have the regular day camp, we've created a scavenger hunt where you will go onto our website, and let me get that. It's the Gan Izzy website, ganizzy.info/mitzvah hunt. Make sure you put in 2 H's, and there you can go. You'll get the information, and when you go on the site, you'll be able to also download the clues and all the things that you are able to find. You'll post your selfies on either our Facebook page or our Instagram page, and everyone will get a prize. This is our innovative and creative way to keep the excitement going for the children and their families during this vacation time, although we can't meet here. Because what's our slogan been lately? We are there. Whatever's going on out there, we're always here for you. So if you know anyone that would like to benefit and would enjoy this program with their children or their families, please share this link, ganizzy.info/mitzvah hunt. It's a real exciting activity. Now, I also want to remind everyone about our Sunday and Wednesday text learning program. Every Sunday and Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. If you register, you will get a text with a question, and the 7th person who answers wins a prize. I want to take this opportunity that we were giving out prizes of bottles of wine. Whoever won the answer, now we're shifting to something a little more educational. We'll be giving out an educational book to each winner on a Sunday and a Wednesday. So you can register on jewishcenter.info/JTEX. And finally, last week we innovated a new program, and that is to distribute and mail to you this beautiful publication that we put out weekly, which we always distributed at the lobby of the Jewish Center, but because we can't meet, we will be mailing them to you. And all you need to do is send me an email, rys@jewishcenter.info, and give me your correct address, and I will put you on the list. And every week before Shabbat, you'll have this beautiful publication. It's a 6-page little pamphlet that has so much in it: stories, information on the portion, and a lot of Jewish data. So rys@jewishcenter.info for the scroll, jewishcenter.info/JTEX for this wonderful learning program, and for the family and children, the next beautiful innovative program is ganizzy.info/mitzvah hunt. Please avail yourself of these great opportunities. They're here for you, and they're here for you to bring you beautiful and exciting, joyful Jewish experiences. So, my dear friends, I started speaking last week about the fact that 2020 is leaving us, and instead of leaving us and saying goodbye to 2020, as I mentioned on Shabbat, and you can always go to the recordings on jewishcenter.info/Rabbi Shem Tov, and find the recording of Friday's sermon. But we spoke about the idea of let's not say goodbye to 2020. Actually, let's take 2020 with us, because amidst all the challenges and all the negativity, there were so many positive ideas that came out of it. And one of them I like to share with you today. And that is the concept of chesed, the concept of kindness. I feel myself, in a sense, I was a matchmaker. So many people wanted to help and donate and contribute time and money, not just money, but contribute time. How can they help people? I got so many calls over the last 8 months. On the other hand, we got calls of so many people who needed help. The outpouring of helping other people during these times was extraordinary, was phenomenal. It's maybe illustrated by the fact, if you remember during our shutdowns, when you would take walks, you would meet your neighbors that you've never seen before. Maybe you've seen driving to work, from work, and actually people were connecting with one another. It was such an important and wonderful thing. The idea of sharing, the idea of giving of yourself, the idea of you understanding that other people may need something that you have, whether it was funds, whether it was a phone call, whether it was learning opportunities. There's so much new interaction with people. And this is something I hope as hopefully slowly in 2021, we will get back into our routine. Let's not forget that beautiful quality of helping another, thinking of another, being sensitive of the other. That's something that was so lost in our society as everybody was on their own career track. Everybody was working so hard to make it. 2 jobs, double income families, and long days. Suddenly we were forced to think about other people. That was a beautiful thing that we can take. And over the weekend, I read a beautiful story that I'd like to share with you that so much illustrates this concept of chesed, this concept of being sensitive to another, giving of yourself, giving of what you have to the other person. And in so many of our cases, I don't think it's going to require what happened in this story. But hopefully this story will inspire us to give a little more of ourselves, whether it's funding, whether it's your time, whether it's your knowledge, whatever it is that God has blessed you with. Always think about how you can use that to bring joy and happiness to someone else. A beautiful story about a young woman whose name was Tzipora Shapiro. Unfortunately, Tzipora, as when she was a young woman, as she was growing into her womanhood, lost her mother at such an important and critical life. Unfortunately, her mother became very ill and passed away. Her father, who was Reb David, was the rabbi in the city of Kovna in Poland. And because he was a rabbi, he had so many different responsibilities that he really wasn't able to take care of this new orphan, his young daughter. And as many stories go, he remarried. And as he remarried, the relationship between Tzipora and her stepmother wasn't the same as it was with her own mother. And needless to say, Tzipora was going through a very, very difficult time in life. She really had to take care of herself, which was very challenging back then in the city of Kovna in Poland. And it was decided that it would be a lot better for Tzipora if she would leave Kovna, make her way to Israel, to Jerusalem, where her older sister lived, was a little more settled down, and she would be able to maybe fill that void that was left with the death of their mother. It was a very painful decision. It was a very hard decision, because Reb David, as busy as he was, still had this beautiful love for his daughter. And it was only out of love and concern for her that he agreed to let her go to his daughter, to his other daughter, who was already settled in Israel. And you can imagine the night before, the emotion that took place in that home as Reb David was speaking to his daughter, which was probably the last time. Pre-internet days, I don't know what the telephone situation was then, but the communication wasn't like having your daughter at home. But he did what was best for her, and he let her leave. But the night before, they had a very heart-to-heart conversation. And towards the end of the conversation, he tells his daughter Zipporah, listen, Zipporah, I know how close you were to your mother, and I know what kind of void her death brought to you. But as you go now, I want to give you something that was so precious to her, that's meant so much to her. So at least you'll have something tangible, something that you can hold on to, that you can feel your mom will always be, is, and will always be with you. And he takes out from the drawer a strand of pearls that was the most precious gift her mother, his wife, his previous wife, had ever received. And Zipporah knew how precious this strand was to her mother. And she grabs it, so excited, so happy that at least she'll have something tangible to always, always hold her mother dear to her. The next day, with tears that can fill rivers, Zipporah departs from her dad as she boards the ship that would take her to Israel. In those days, a ship, traveling by ship, wasn't like today. It wasn't a cruise. It was very difficult. The storms would rock the ship back and forth, and it would be very scary. Needless to say, Zipporah, on this ride, on this sail, as she sailed to Israel, was very lonely. She left anything that she had behind emotionally with her dad, and she didn't know what was going to be. She was very lonely, and you can imagine, very scared as the boat would rock through the various storms. But one thing kept her, calmed her down, and that was those strand of pearls. She never felt alone when she had those pearls next to her heart. She never felt scared when she felt her mother was with her. These were going to become her anchor during the stormy life that she's about to embark on. Thank God she made it to Israel, and she very quickly found her way to her sister's home in Jerusalem. Such a beautiful reunion. They missed each other so much, and she hasn't seen her sister since her mother passed away. So needless to say, they'd spent a lot of time catching up, talked about themselves, what they each did, talked about what is life in Kovna, who got married, who got engaged, who had children, who passed away. And her sister in Israel wanted to get all this information because it was pre-internet. She didn't know what was going on. And as they're talking late at night, the conversation turns to the mother, the memories of the mother and how much their mother meant to them. And every word was so precious when they spoke about their mother. Then, towards the end while they're having this conversation, the sister turns to Zipporah and says, Zipporah, whatever happened with mommy's pearls? She was like so wondering what happened, yearning over those special pearls that her mother had. And she turns to her sister Zipporah. Zipporah, what happened to mommy's pearls? And I'm going to stop the story now for a second. I want you to put yourself in Zipporah's mind. What would you have answered? Seeing the yearning of your sister to your mommy's pearls that your dad gave you as a gift for you. What would you have told your sister at that moment? Think for a second. This is what Zipporah told her. Zipporah tells her sister, funny that you should ask. But before I left, Daddy gave me something special to give to you. And she takes the pearls out of her pocket and says, here, Daddy wanted you to have these pearls because he knew how much they meant to you. Her sister grabs those pearls, starts to cry. As tears come, she thanks her so much for being able to bring her father's gift to her and how much these pearls meant to her. And Zipporah's looking at her, grabs her and hugs her and says how happy she is to be able to give her a part of her mother, never ever mentioning that in fact it was the gift that the father gave to her. And this is the follow-up to that story. Her husband, who was a very big, famous rabbi in Jerusalem, Rabbi Aryeh Levin, said that throughout his whole life with Tzipporah, never ever did he hear a word of regret from Tzipporah for giving her sister the pearls. Her sister never knew that those pearls were really meant for Tzipporah. And never ever did she mention regret for giving her those pearls. I want you to think about the story. I want you to think, what would you have done, and what in fact did Tzipporah do? And if you're really inspired by what Tzipporah did, this is what you need to do going forward. I'm not asking you, nor do I think I can, give up the most precious things to me and just give it away to someone else. But a little bit I can. See, we work hard for the things that we have. We commit ourselves and devote ourselves to the successes that we have. How much of that are we ready to share? How much of that are we ready to give away, not in a way where it is painless, but where it could be painful? But we know that with that, we can help somebody else. We should do it with joy. And when you find yourself holding yourself back from even giving your most loved ones, your children, your spouses, your friends, your parents, something that's so precious to you, your time, your efforts, certainly your funds or your capacity, whatever it is that you have, I hope you think about this story. I hope you think about what would you have done in April 2020 when you weren't running after your success, but when you were stuck at home and someone would have called you for something that you had and you can help them. I know you would do it, because that's what we all did during April, May, and June of 2020. Let's hold on to that precious gift of giving, that precious sensitivity of being there for the other person. So as we get caught up in our, hopefully sooner than later, get back into our routine where we were so busy, we will never be too busy to give of ourselves to someone who's really in need. So, my dear friends, it's a beautiful day outside. The sun is shining from out. Let your inner sun shine from within. Help someone. Reach out to someone. Make sure that what you have is not just something that only you benefit from, but even when it's a little hard, make sure you share that with someone else. Because as we always teach, not only will that person be blessed, but you will see how blessed you will become. May God bless you all. May God give us all the excitement of life that we can. And may the sun shine from without and within. And may this time of transition, whether it's to another secular year or it's another period in our life, as everything begins to open up sooner than later, eventually over the next few months, that we don't forget those important messages and lessons that we've learned. Have a great day.